Hello students, my name is Niyati Said and thanks for watching Edupedia word videos. My topic for the presentation is the 7th section of the chapter Excretion and Osmoregulation, or excretory products and their elimination. In this section of presentation, we'll be studying about the regulation of the kidney function. How kidney plays a role in osmoregulation will be studying in this presentation. Now the question arises, what is osmoregulation, students? Osmoregulation is a homeostatic mechanism of maintaining salt-water balance or ionic composition of blood. Thus, by osmoregulation, the osmotic pressure between blood and tissue fluid is kept constant. It is carried out by kidney. Of course, it is carried out by kidney. But in which part? In the renal tubule part of the kidney. So, you can say that regulation of kidney function, it is done by hormonal feedback mechanisms that involves hypothalamus, JGA and heart. What is JGA? JGA is a juxta glomerular apparatus. Okay. For the time being, just know the full form of JGA. We'll be studying in detail how JGA helps, okay, in maintaining osmoregulation. And what is osmoregulation? Osmoregulation is a homeostatic mechanism of maintaining salt-water balance or ionic composition of blood. So, thus by osmoregulation, the osmotic pressure between blood and tissue fluid is kept constant. Okay. Now, changes in blood volume, body fluid volume and ionic concentration, it activates the osmoreceptors in the body. Now, we'll be studying each one in detail. Okay. Now comes, see, there are 3 hormones that play a significant role in osmoregulation. Okay, as we know that kidney plays a vital role in osmoregulation. So there are 3 hormones that play a significant role in osmoregulation. Now which are those 3 hormones? First is ADH. Okay, first is ADH, that is antidiuretic hormone. Okay, and it is also called as Vasopressin. Okay, and it is also called as Vasopressin. That means it constricts vessel. Okay, and second hormone is aldosterone. We'll be studying aldosterone also. And third hormone is ANF, that is atrial natriuretic factor. Okay, each one will be studying in detail, but first let's concentrate on ADH, that is antidiuretic hormone, and it is also called as Vasopressin. Okay, Vasopressin, it is secreted by neurohypophysis of pituitary. Neurohypophysis of pituitary. That means this ADH is synthesized in hypothalamus of brain. Okay, and it acts on distal convoluted tubule and common collecting duct tubule. Okay, and it makes their wall permeable to water, and this causes reabsorption of more water from urine to blood, and thus ADH is a water conserving hormone, you can say. Okay, so you can say that ADH is a water conserving hormone because it causes reabsorption of more water from urine to blood. Okay. And please note one thing, that how hypothalamus of brain has osmoreceptors. Okay, see, this is osmoreceptors in hypothalamus. This is the hypothalamus which has osmoreceptors in it. when water content of body decreases body fluid, it becomes concentrated. Okay, it becomes concentrated, and this activates the osmoreceptors which are present in hypothalamus to secrete ADH. Okay, so now ADH, this as you can see that ADH has now been excreted or secreted by osmoreceptors which are present in hypothalamus. So now these ADH, it causes reabsorption of water from urine, and urine becomes hypertonic. Okay, now the urine has become hypertonic. Now, on the other hand, increased volume of body fluid, it suppresses osmoreceptors and ADH secretion is suppressed. Much of the water is not reabsorbed and urine becomes hypotonic. Just opposite. Okay. So let's discuss its first case, that now ADH has been secreted by the osmoreceptors which are present in hypothalamus. So this ADH, it causes reabsorption of water from urine, and it makes the urine hypertonic. Okay, now this as you can see, this is the collecting duct wall. Now the wall has become more permeable to ADH. Okay, and as you can see that H2O reabsorption helps prevent further osmolarity increase, and thus it maintains homeostasis or blood osmolarity. Okay, now this stimulus, the release of ADH is triggered when osmoreceptor cells in the hypothalamus detect an increase in the osmolarity of the blood, and thus this goes on. Okay, and when a person feels thirst, then drinking it reduces blood osmolarity to set point, and this is how it goes on. Okay, or you can say that this is how osmoregulation takes place, by regulating ADH, that is antidiuretic hormone, and it is also called as vasopressin. Okay, and please note one thing, that an increase in fluid volume, it switches off the osmoreceptors and it suppresses the ADH release to complete the feedback. And ADH, it, as I have told you, ADH is also known as vasopressin. So the ADH, it constricts the blood vessels, and that results in increase in BP, that is blood pressure, and this increases the glomerular blood flow and GFR. Okay, or the filtration rate, glomerular filtration rate is GFR. Okay, now comes regulation by JGA, that is juxta glomerular apparatus. Okay, there is a special sensitive region called as juxta glomerular apparatus. Okay, this is the JGA, juxtaglomerular apparatus. It is formed by the cellular modification of DCT and the afferent arteriole at the location of their contact. Okay, at the location of their contact. See, there is a hormone known as aldosterone. Aldosterone, it is a hormone which is secreted by cortex of adrenal gland, and this hormone, it acts on renal tubule. Okay, and it causes more reabsorption of Na plus from urine. Okay, and how regulation takes place, students, I have taught you afferent renal arterioles and efferent arterioles. Okay, this is afferent arteriole and this is efferent arteriole. So the afferent renal arteriole, this is afferent renal arteriole, that shows stretch receptor cells in juxtaglomerular apparatus. That means afferent arterioles have stretch receptor cells. okay, which secretes renin. This secretes renin when ionic composition of blood or blood pressure or GFR decreases. Then it secretes renin. Okay, what does renin do? Renin, it converts angiotensinogen. It is a protein in the blood which is produced by liver. So the renin, it converts angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1. Okay, that means it converts, or it helps in the conversion of angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1. It is converted into angiotensin 2 in the lungs. Now the angiotensin 2 in turn stimulates adrenal cortex to secrete aldosterone. As I have told you that aldosterone, it is a hormone secreted by the cortex of adrenal gland. And what does this aldosterone do? This hormone, it acts on the renal tubule and it causes more reabsorption of Na+, that is sodium ion, from urine. Angiotensin 2, it also causes vasoconstriction of afferent arteriole. Okay. Now what is the effect? Due to aldosterone, sodium ion is retained in the blood, and which increases blood volume. Okay. So this is how regulation by JGA takes place. Okay. What does renin do, students? Renin, it helps in conversion of angiotensinogen, which is a protein in a blood produced by liver. So the renin, it converts angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1. Okay. See, renin converts angiotensinogen in blood to angiotensin 1 and further to angiotensin 2. And what does angiotensin 2 do? It is a vasoconstrictor. That means it constricts the vessels. Okay. Vessels of what? Vessels of afferent arterioles. Okay. And due to aldosterone, Na+, that is sodium ion, is retained in the blood, and which increases blood volume. Okay. It also activates adrenal cortex to release aldosterone. I hope it is clear to all of you. Now let's see this flow chart, how it happens. See, homeostasis, such as blood pressure and volume, or the blood volume. It gives a stimulus to the JGA and it responds to low blood volume or the blood pressure, such as due to dehydration or loss of water. So see, this is the JGA, as I have told you, and this is the efferent arteriole and this is the afferent arteriole. So the afferent arteriole, it as I have told you that afferent arterioles have a stretch receptor cells in the JGA, that is juxta glomerular apparatus, and which secretes renin. See, now renin production has taken place when ionic composition of blood or blood pressure or GFR decreases. Now the renin, it converts angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1. First it gets converted into 1 and later on it gets converted into angiotensin 2. Okay, and then it goes to the cortex part of the adrenal gland to secrete aldosterone. And now what does aldosterone do? It increases Na+ and H2O reabsorption in the distal tubule. And this angiotensin 2 goes to the arteriole or do the afferent arteriole constriction, and thus it is how it maintains the homeostasis. So I hope it is clear to all of you now how JGA, that is juxta glomerular apparatus, helps in the regulation of or helps in the maintaining of osmoregulation. Okay. Aldosterone, as I have told you, it causes reabsorption of Na+ and water from the distal parts of the tubule. This also leads to an increase in blood pressure and GFR. Now comes third hormone, that is atrial natriuretic factor, that is ANF. Okay, ANF, what does this do? This is a hormone which is released by covering of atrial wall of heart. Okay, it is released when blood volume increases and it causes rise in blood pressure. ANF is anti-natriuretic factor. It inhibits release of renin from juxta glomerular apparatus, which we have just studied. Okay, as a result, the secretion of aldosterone is reduced and it causes reduction in reabsorption of Na plus and Cl minus. It also causes increased excretion of water and Na plus through urine, and that we call it as natriuresis. That means increased excretion of sodium ion. Okay, and that's why we call it as natriuresis. Hence the name is natriuretic factor. Okay, so ANF, it check on the renin-angiotensin mechanism. Increase in blood flow to the atria of heart. It causes release of atrial natriuretic factor, that is ANF. So the ANF, it causes vasodilation. That means it is acting just opposite to JGA, that is juxtaglomerular apparatus. Because what JGA used to do? JGA used to constrict the vessels, but the ANF, it causes vasodilation or the dilation of blood vessels, and thereby it decreases the blood pressure. Okay, now what is the significance of osmoregulation, students? See, first, it maintains water balance in the body fluid. Second, it maintains osmotic pressure in the body fluid. Third, it maintains a steady internal environment of the body. And fourth, it maintains permeability of cell membrane. And fifth, that osmoregulation also helps to remove metabolic waste. Okay, so come back to the topic now. See, this is how it takes place. Cardiac distension, sympathetic stimulation, angiotensin II endothelin. Okay, so it goes to the ANP or the BMP, and it causes to lower the renin, okay, production, and hence if renin concentration is reduced, then automatically angiotensin II will reduce. So as you can see, this down mark is showing the reduced concentration of angiotensin II. So angiotensin II will not be able to excite the cortex of the adrenal gland. So hence it won't be able to secrete aldosterone, and this is how natriuresis takes place. That means it causes increased excretion of water and Na plus through urine, which we call it as natriuresis, and hence the name is natriuretic factor. Okay, so the natriuresis takes place, and this causes decrease in the blood volume and decrease in the blood pressure. Okay, so this is how the regulation by atrial natriuretic factor takes place. It is a hormone that is released by the covering of the atrial walls of the heart, and it is released when blood volume increases and it causes rise in blood pressure. Okay, and ANF inhibits release of renin from the juxtaglomerular apparatus. As a result, secretion of aldosterone is reduced, causing reduction in reabsorption of Na plus and Cl minus, and it also causes increased excretion of water and Na plus through urine, which we call it as natriuresis, and hence the name of the hormone is atrial natriuretic factor, and this causes decrease in blood volume, and hence the blood pressure is decreased. Okay, so this is how three hormones it helps in the regulation or maintenance of the osmoregulation. So this comes to an end. In my next section of the presentation, we'll be studying about the kidney failure, dialysis, and kidney stones. So till then, keep watching Edupedia word videos. Thank you.